not have worked with Stuart when you were here, but you've probably met him consequently in a range of ways. So Stuart obviously was a maths teacher, was a maths head teacher, both for the department and also for the independent sector. And Stuart now works more with teachers, and I think probably quite a few of you have been to some of his professional development that he's actually run. And one of Stuart's recent challenges has been to try and convince teachers that there are other ways to assess than traditional pen and paper type tests. But we all know and love our traditional tests, and that's quite difficult to give up, particularly when we have a HSC that has a particular flavour. So, over to you, Stuart.
Thanks. Hi everybody, lots of familiar faces. Good to see you all. Yes, many hats. Sydney Uni is one of my hats. But today I'll be talking about the hat where a school rings me up and says, we would like you to come and talk to us for a day, the whole math staff, about changing our assessment strategies. And sometimes this is because the principal has been to a conference and come back from school all excited about project-based learning and wants the school overnight to become a PBL school. Who's had that? Who's in a school like that where the teacher has the principal or somebody else? Okay, other schools, which is admirable, I think, have actually looked at themselves in the mirror and you said, you know what? These tests we keep writing, we're investing so much time in making these tests, but the kids just turn up cold, zero preparation, and then we give them 35% and think we're doing a good job. Let's try something else. Anyway, that's interesting because when I go on my little trips to the country, I often get the really gung-ho teachers turn up and we have a great time. But I think what happens when they go back to school? They get 5 minutes to convince the rest of the maths teachers that what I'm talking about is a good idea. But you know, I went right down here one day, that little corner of New South Wales down there, there's a town called Moama. And I spent a day with them, and I did the same thing in Bathurst and a school in Tamworth and Wagga, Wollongong, Newcastle, where I actually get to spend a day with the whole maths staff. So if you're in a position to do anything about it, I think it's a good day. And I start with things like this. Here's some big quotes about what maths should be. Creativity, judgment, questioning, problem solving. The big words. I love this one. We need maths to be taught more like it is done out there in the real world. We need maths to be taught more like it is done in the real world. And that taught includes assessment. I hate to be cynical on such a positive day, but I think until assessment changes, including the HSC, that's when real change will start to happen in classrooms. And it is assessment that drives, I believe, 99.7% of what happens in classrooms. Anyway, this is a big one. Ouch. Current mathematics education is satisfied with programming students to carry out certain mathematical processes, and assessment rewards students who can calculate everything even if they understand nothing. Ouch. Guilty. I tried to change. Anyway, this is fairly recent, this one. What do employers, they actually, this study, they got some real maths teachers to actually go into workplaces and follow workers, watching workers and talking to workers about the mathematics they actually use in their workplace. It's really worth a read. If you were to Google that, you will find it very, very easily. This is what they've put out there into the maths community. And I humbly think that the ideas I'm putting out there actually are trying to bridge some of this divide between what happens in school maths and what people actually need when they're out there doing maths in the workplace. Students who are mathematically capable at school often have difficulty transferring this ability to the workplace. That's a big call. Our society needs a much better alignment between teaching of maths in school and its application in the workforce. This was a variety of workplaces, not necessarily, people who left school early to join the workplace. These were a variety of different workplaces. And whenever I see the teaching of mathematics, I honestly do believe that that's got to include assessment, and that's ultimately what will bring about change to assessment. So, here's some good news. If you read that sort of stuff and you agree with it, you are certainly not alone. There is an Edmodo page. I will send Judy an email inviting you to join this Edmodo page. This one's called Purple Patches. 593 members as of just the other day. And these are people who are willing and able and trying to do something about changing assessment. And they are very generously sharing the things that they have tried. Somewhat reluctantly. Come on, put it up there, go on, do it. No, but it's not that good. It's not that good. It's only the first one we ever did it. It's not that good. Go on. That's what people want to see. They want to see that other people are having a go, and it didn't go brilliantly, and tell people what went wrong, so that we're all in this, because we're all in this together. Anyhow, this is the perfect time to do something about it, because we do have a new syllabus, and we do have a lot of stuff online. This is on the Border Studies website. When you are writing a unit of work, it is supposed to include integrated teaching, learning, and assessment activities. And those activities should be all of those things. And they don't sound like our good old-fashioned pen and paper maths tests, do they? I'm not saying we should throw them away altogether, because we still have an HSC where pen and paper tests, count, but I think there is a time and a place for some alternatives. Assessment should be an integral component, not just something to add afterwards. And we've got a whole lot of stuff in our new syllabus documents about assessment, including that page. Although to me, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I find the Victorian version of that page speaks more clearly to me than the New South Wales version of that one. And that's even something that I might put up in my classroom if I had one right now. Because I think the words there would make more sense to students and parents. That's one thing you need to do. If you're going to go down this pathway, you've got to get the parents on board, because the parents of our students, very much maths was all about doing the test. You need to take them on board as well. There's lots of advice on assessment. Okay, so what do I do on these days when I spend a whole day with a maths staff in a school? We do stuff like this, and we look through all the stuff that's been written over the time by people like the Clarks, and we look at the difference between rich tasks and more traditional tasks, things like that. And then I give them some examples, that's what the piece of paper there is for. A very, very quick example. Hand up if you've seen this sheet before. Many of you have seen this sheet before. Okay. Yep. Somebody in the room told me they took this to their very traditional school and tried it with their kids who don't do a lot of cutting out of paper, and they loved it. Yes? Yes. Right, who else has tried this one at school? Couple there. Okay. Step 2. All right, boys and girls, did you enjoy that activity? Excellent. Here is a piece of paper. Here is another square piece of paper. This time, instead of cutting it into 4 congruent scalene right angle triangles, I would like you to cut it this way, some other way. Yeah, how many ways can you cut up a square? Right? This time I'd like you to cut it up this way, and guess what? You're going to be me. You're going to go away and write 20 questions like the ones on that page. Carefully. And you'll take a photograph of all the answers for me, so because I'm too stupid to do them myself. And you're going to use the language really, really carefully, and you're going to use correct terminology. Yeah? And then it won't be the same as your friends, will it? I mean, what's the chance that 2 people would handle the same 20 questions? Almost 0. And you'll choose carefully, and then you'll hand it in, and I'll show you the rubric. I'll show you the rubric now. Here it is, up in advance. This is the marking rubric we'll be using. Good luck. Have some fun with that. I would also have emailed the parents at some point to explain this is a non-traditional task. You are, by all means, support your son or daughter, but please don't do it for them. Yeah? Anyway, that's one of my hats at the moment, is to work with a school who are making this change. So if there's people at your school talking about making a change, get in contact.